In this article, according to the authors Garcia and Bustamante 2020, they said that the conceptual framework planning provides a methodological and theoretical approaches that students should make part of their academic training, and it will serve for their role as a future professional. So the conceptual framework reveals the teacher's vision that encompasses his or her personal and professional development, as well as the social interaction inside and outside the classroom. Also, something important that teachers have to take into account is that the values that will serve as a reference for a planning for their students. For example, honesty, integrity, and justice. There are the main values that students will require when they have future jobs. In the article number 2, according to this author Hansen 2018, the conceptual framework planning is composed of didactic, technological, and theoretical tools designed to create new content and competency development strategies. And we acquire this information from interviews with teachers because they know, according to their experience, they know what strategies or methodologies are more effective inside the classroom. Another point of view is with the author Trevor 2018. He said that the conceptual framework planning have to focus also in the direct or indirect structures of inequity, because students have to take into account the diversity that it is important inside the classroom. For example, poverty, racism, illness, or problems with the family affects to the learning. So it is necessary that the students recognize the importance of the environment in which they are developing their academic learning, but also it is important that teacher knows the background of their students with the purpose to have better strategies to help them.
Hello, I am Carlos Bravo, and now I'm going to explain these articles. This is the lesson planning and the student teacher rethinking the dominant model by Peter G. John in 2018. In this article, this analysis is about the technical and rationalistic curriculum planning has been the dominant model underpinning future teachers' lesson planning for a generation. This idea, it means that the teachers need to follow and maybe create a good structures before to develop the classes, because it's important to create a good lesson planning with clearly objectives and with the other steps focus on the topic and the level and the age. And it's important for the teacher and the students because the teachers and the students can create a research or maybe an investigation about the lesson planning and create and that could be a good material for the other generations. In this article, A Conceptual Framework for Strategic Planning by Dr. Paul Knowles in 2019, the analysis in this article is focused on one possible development from the conceptual framework. We propose the paper will be the study the planning performance relationship. In this diagram, you can see the conceptual framework example. It is important for the teacher and the students that need to create a conceptual framework for the classes, create a moderation variable, take in the process this cycle the moderation variable, independent variable, and dependent variable, because these variables is important because you need to follow the steps and the process that you need to develop the classes. It's important because in this article you can see the relationship that the variables and the educational system, and also you can see the planning processes step by step that you can see the last part on this article. You can see the results. And the last article is interesting because it's a combination, a conceptual system framework for the study of opinion theory by Chris Kosinski in 2020. in cooperation with the other articles. And here you can see a cycle in this analysis that you need to follow these steps: scoping, analysis, planning, and implementation. And you can see Churchman and now is study the systems theory for to create good lesson plannings with the theories. It's important to create a relationship with the theories and try to get the best theory that you need to get the good explanation with your students. It's important to follow the cycle and take with the all information that you can see in these three articles.
Hello, my name is David Sandoval, and today I want to share some information about the two scientific articles about the conceptual frameworks and ELT base. The first article is text-based the language teachings, a lesson plan purpose for Indonesian ELT context. I want to share some information about this article. We have two articles. The first is about the lesson plan purpose for text-based language teaching approach, supplemented by its critical relations and evaluations. This kind of article or lesson plan have four structures, pillars: the language exposures, presence of language exposure, motivation, and structures. For the author of this kind of article, propose the nouns framework who have 6 stages. The one stage is schema building. The number 2 is control practice. Number 3, authentic practice. Number 4 is linguistic elements focus. Number 5, free practice. And number 6 is introduction of pedagogical tags. All these lesson plan have these different stages. And for Noon, give 7 principles for his purpose BLT sequence that have scaffolding, task dependence, recycling, activity teachings, integration, creation, and reflections. For the other article is science and language integration with English learners, a concept of framework guide instructions material develops. This kind of article have different information about that. Traditional view focus in individual learners, and contemporary view emphasis that the students make sense of phenomenon and design solution to problems as science and engineers to do in their words. This kind of lesson plan have collaboration participation. For example, developing model, arguments for evidence, and constructions and explanations. This kind of article have 2 points of view: the traditional and the contemporary. The traditional view focus in discrete elements of vocabulary, lexical, and grammar syntax to be interiorized by the students. And the contemporary social cultural turn, linguistics, dynamics, and different points of view. And we can see the modality, the register, and interaction. Thank you.
Hi, teacher, I'm Estela. So, the continual framework as a reference of knowledge, competence, and values of the precise teacher. This article was about a research that allowed to identify the essential elements to strengthen the conceptual framework for a multi-dimensional perspective based on the local and global needs. For that, schools are responsible for training teachers who are response to demands of the external environment as knowledge, competence, and values. This research used a particular method that is called Walcott, where all the transcripts were coded and subjected to the data reduction. This study promotes self-reflection and the search for educational practice that contribute to the training of future teachers. based on their standards and institutional rules. The next article was about conceptual framework, in which has 7 components that are committees, philosophy, theme, knowledge base, competence, while experience, and assessments. So the professional committees is the preparation of professional educators and shared beliefs about learning. In philosophy, it's about how learning appears or occurs in the students. About the theme, it's a word picture that describes the program or this primary goal evolved. And about knowledge base, the knowledge base identifies contemporary research. Competence describes some major categories of the firm's indicators. And this is about the level of professional educators. And about file experience, it's in which the philosophy is described, and the assessment should be meaningful experiences, and these teachers should give some feedback to students.